I'm beating every N64 game, and I mean all of them. The twist is, the next game I play is randomly selected, so I have no clue what's coming next. This is the journey to beating every N64 game. Hey, welcome to another episode. If you do enjoy this video, consider giving it a like, as it does help the channel a lot. And if you like this series, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. Game number 50, Charlie Blast Territory. Released in 1999, this game was developed by Real Time Associates and published by Kemco. I had not even kinda sorta heard of this game before, and basically none of my viewers had either, so I just had no clue what to expect jumping into this one. It turns out it's actually a sort of alternate version of a game for the PlayStation called The Bombing Islands. Maybe some of you have played that one, but I don't think it was really popular either. The game only has one mode, puzzle mode, so we'll be completing that to beat this game. We play as a slightly overweight construction worker named Charlie Blast. Definitely a character the kids will get excited about. The game plays a puzzle game where there's a series of tiles you can move on one at a time. Then there will be certain objects on different tiles. The main one to be concerned about with at the start is the red bomb. That's the detonator. You walk up to it and light it to lock in your solution to the puzzle. The goal of any level is to blow up all the explosives on screen. If you do that, you win. The first level is literally just walk up to the detonator, activate it, and win. Level 2 was basically the same. In level 3 it introduced a few mechanics we'll run into a lot. Moving platforms and spikes. The moving platforms allow you to cross gaps. It's not a challenge or anything, like you can't fall off the edge or anything like that. Then the spikes will come out of the ground periodically and bounce you one tile backward. Level 4 is where the first sort of actual puzzle came into play. It introduced these stone blocks that can either be pushed or jumped over. If you jump over them, you bounce to the next tile, and if there's another block, you keep bouncing until you land on a tile that's not a block. You can only push things, not pull in this game, so I had to just find the route to successfully bounce to the detonator. Still really easy. In level 5 we learn we can not only push blocks, but we can push bombs too. Since you can only push things, you can make a few deductions. If you push something to the edge of the level, it will permanently be stuck along that edge, and if you push it into a corner, it's stuck there forever. You also can't push something if another thing is blocking it, like you can't push two things at once. So knowing that, you can identify the path to push the detonator to all the TNT since none of them can be moved. Not only do you need to blow all explosives up to pass a level, you also have to survive. Okay, I want to see what happens if I blow myself up. If the tile you're on is destroyed, then you lose, even if everything blows up. In level 6, the detonator starts in the corner, so we know it can't be moved. This means we just have to bring all the other explosives to the detonator itself. Levels will also have scenery, like this one has a few cacti and some rocks. You don't do anything with them, they're just decoration, but they do act as a barrier for explosions. So another mechanic is the explosions themselves. How do they chain? Well, for example, this layout here looks like it should work. Everything is close together, so they should all blow each other up, right? Not really. Explosions have a certain explosion radius. The detonator and TNT boxes all have a radius of 2, so they blow up their own tile as well as one tile up, down, left, and right of it. They don't go diagonally. Level 7 has just a detonator and a bunch of TNT all tied in a big knot essentially. It needs to be untangled so that everything is touching. This level also introduces a new type of spike where it's coming up and down too quickly for you to pass it, so you can never walk past that tile. You can cover it up with TNT and jump past it though. This was the first one that actually took me a bit to figure out, around 15 minutes or so. I'm not going to explain the solution to every puzzle because there's a lot of them, 60 in total, and some of them get really complex. Level 8 didn't introduce anything new. Then in level 9 I learned you can not only use platforms to cross gaps yourself, you can push bombs onto them as well. This was less of a puzzle and more an exercise in timing. Just activate the detonator when all the platforms are lined up next to it. Level 10, nothing new as well. Then when we get to level 11, the entire environment changes. It says we're in the Alpine Islands and it's all snowy. And the music changes too. Speaking of music, the music in this game, it's not too great. It's incredibly repetitive and, well, I just didn't like it too much. Anyway, this level introduces numbered bombs. The ones in this level have a 1 on them, which means their explosion radius is 1. They will only only explode the tile that they themselves are on, nothing else. So you can't use them to chain with other bombs. So like in this one, we have to surround the detonator with all of the 1 bomb, since it has an explosion radius of 2. Level 12 brought in one of the most annoying things they put in this game, the timed detonator. This one's just set to go off after a certain amount of time, seen in the top left. You can reset the timer by touching it, and you need to do that a lot. It's just frustrating having to run back and forth between the detonator and the other bombs. This first use of it isn't too bad, but trust me, it gets way worse. The one thing this bomb does allow you to do is surround the detonator with bombs and have it still go off. Normally, since you have to activate it yourself, there needs to be at least one open space for you to activate it. With the timed one, you can completely surround it with bombs and have it still go off, which is how you beat this level. Level 13 brings in numbered bombs with 2. They have an explosion radius of 2, just like the detonator. But then there are numbered bombs embedded in the ground. These can't be moved, but they can be jumped over like the TNT blocks. The detonator is also embedded in the ground. Since they can't be moved, it gives you an idea of how the solution should look. You need to build your solution around where they already are. Level 14 didn't have any new items. However, I did find a glitch that can cheese a few parts of puzzles. See, this spike is coming up and down too rapidly to stand on it, so if something's next to it, you're not able to stand there to push it. However, if you manually jump onto the spike rather than move onto it with the right timing, Charlie will like push the bomb while floating in the air. It's pretty obvious this isn't intended, but it did find some use during this playthrough. Some people don't like me using glitches, but hey, I found this one all by myself. Level 15 introduced numbered bombs with a 3. These blow up 2 tiles up, down, and left and right of the bomb, but also 1 tile diagonally, and these things are massive. These are the only way you can blow something up with a diagonal chain reaction. Level 16 had the first instance of the timed bomb being miserable. It's completely trapped where you can't move it, and there's a bunch of bombs far away from it. So you have to go to 1 bomb, come back and touch the detonator, then go run and get another, and repeat it over and over. Not only that, the overall level timer is low in this one, so you've kind of got to speed run it. This one's just not really fun to do. None of the rest of the levels in this area had any new mechanics. If you want to see all the puzzles, you can find a video someone uploaded of all the solutions on YouTube. Or if you want to watch my full playthrough, it's on my second channel, which is linked in the video description. Some of these puzzles are really tricky, like level 18 took me over an hour to solve. On to level 21 and it's now like a tropical island environment. Nice palm trees for scenery. This level introduces a new mechanic, the non-moving spike. All the spikes before came out of the ground repeatedly, but these just sit there constantly. The others bounced you backwards 1 tile, but for these you bounce over them. In level 22 it introduces an oil spill. The oil spill's slippery and you can't push anything while you're standing on it. If you try, then you just fall over. And then level 23 introduces these yellow things called bumpers. If you push an object into a bumper, you swap positions with the object you pushed. Level 24 introduces the conveyor. Pushing an object onto it will move it to the end of the conveyor all on its own, and if you walk on it, you will also be pushed. You can't walk against the direction of the conveyor. Level 25 is where I found an interesting strategy that I'm not sure if it's cheese or not. In this one, you have to push all the bombs onto a conveyor in a certain order to get them to all blow up. The detonator needs to be last because you need to be able to activate it. I'd spent ages on this one and I couldn't get it to work. However, I did find something else that did work. See, when you activate the detonator, it counts down 3 seconds before it blows up. So what I did was activate the detonator and then move the last bomb into place just before it blew up. I'm not really sure if this is an intended strategy by the devs, but hey, it works here. It's really neat how many different mechanics they have for this game, and it's a pretty well designed puzzle in my opinion. Like level 29 has a moving platform, an oil spill, all the types of spikes, a conveyor, a bumper, and numbered bombs. The further in you go, the more wild things get, and there's always at least one solution. The only issue is Charlie Blast is just not a relatable character, and come on dude, pull up your pants. At level 31, the environment changes once again to a swamp area. This one introduces one-time use tiles. Once you stand on them and move off, they sink into the water. And level 32 brought in the remote bombs. These will always be in a level in pairs. When one of them is blown up, the other is blown up immediately after. And they have a blast radius of 2. So you can see where now we can have multiple separate explosions. Level 33 introduces the trampoline. If you push a bomb onto a trampoline, it'll bounce to a linked trampoline tile somewhere else in the level. The trampolines always come in pairs, and if something's already in the other trampoline, a new bomb can't bounce there. And the trampolines can transport Charlie Blast as well. With all these tools, there can start to be some really interesting puzzles, way different from the start of the game. Like level 38 has all the bombs stuck in corners, which would be impossible before, but now you can use the trampolines to get them all within distance of the detonator. And then level 39 is a puzzle only using the single-use platforms. It's less about pushing bombs and more about just finding a path through the tiles without locking yourself out. At level 41, we go to the Arctic Islands. Everything here is ice, and you know what that means. Charlie can't walk normally. If you move on ice, you keep moving until you run into an obstacle. And if you slide into a bomb, you'll automatically push it forward until it runs into an obstacle. Basically, these are a lot like the puzzle in that one ice gem in one of the Pokemon games. I think it's Ruby and Sapphire, but also I'm not sure. And if you try to push a bomb while you're stopped on ice, it acts the same as an oil spill. Charlie just slips and falls. But yeah, this world really only introduces the ice mechanic. But adding that in changes all the previous mechanics since it changes the way you fundamentally move around the level. Just lots of sliding around. In level 46, I found what I assume is another cheese strat. Normally when you push a bomb onto ice, it continues sliding until it gets off the ice or it hits an obstacle. But if you do it after the detonator's been activated, then it gets pushed like normal, as if it was on just solid ground. This was needed for my solution to the level, but it definitely doesn't seem intended. Why would the ice suddenly not be slippery anymore? Either way, it allowed me to win, so I'll take it. Level 49 was the hardest level in the entire game in my opinion. The detonator and some 3 bombs were in the center with some 1 bombs on the edges. You have to rearrange everything to get them to all reach the 1 bombs. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty fed up with this level and the game was giving me a headache at this point, so I just looked up the answer to this one. I know, sanctity of the N64 challenge ruined, but hear me out. Look at how ridiculous this one is. The final 10 levels were called the Rainbow Islands. Level 51 was actually pretty interesting. It has this moving platform with a bunch of bombs on it. Then if you push a bomb out onto this massive conveyor contraption, it can sort them into a different order. It's more like a logic puzzle rather than an execution type thing. The levels in this world didn't introduce any new mechanics. It's mostly just using all the things we've seen previously and combining them together in new ways. Like in level 54, I had to take this extremely tangled mess of blocks and move them all out of the way to allow me to push some TNT blocks all the way to the other side. And level 55 just has like the grab bag of mechanics, nearly everything all crammed into one level. Level 57 was my final time cheesing the level, and this one was big. You have to push the bombs onto this conveyor and I guess do something with all these bumpers to move them around. I realized you could just push them out and then hurry over to the 1 bomb and push it next to the detonator before it blows up. Like, I barely even used anything in the level. There's no way this was intended, but it beat the level, so. Level 59, I'm pretty sure it actually did use everything in one level. We've got a detonator in the ground, remote bombs, trampolines, conveyors, ice, oil spills, bumper, numbered bombs, a block, and TNT. It looks overwhelming and, well, that's because it is. The ones in this final world, they're no joke, but if you just keep trying, everything will fall into place. The final level is just called The, and basically the idea is to move all the bombs to spell the word end. It takes an incredibly long time to move it all, and when you're done, it looks about like this. Oh man. Seeing all that blow up successfully, it just felt so good. When you beat it, the game tricks you showing a password for level 61, but that level doesn't exist. Not really sure what that's about. If you go try the password, it doesn't even work. And then the game gives you a message saying, congratulations, you beat the toughest puzzle designer, no easy feat. And yeah, that's it. The credits are just available from the options menu. Game complete. So yeah, there you have it, my journey to beating Charlie Blast's territory. This game was just a painful grind to beat. I'm not too into puzzle games, and this one really put me to the test. I don't think it's a good idea to play a game like this all in one go. Just maybe pick it up every now and then to slowly solve each puzzle. Otherwise you get a headache like me. But I thought the puzzle they created was really cool, and I liked all the different mechanics they added to increase complexity. However, the puzzle design is really the only good thing about the game. The graphics are pretty bad, the music's just not good, and the game, honestly, it should have been in 2D instead of 3D, but hey, it's the N64, you gotta go for that 3D hype, you know? And then Charlie Blast is just not a very interesting character, like, it's just hard to relate to him. Overall, it was kind of average. I gave it a 4.5 out of 10 for enjoyability and a 9.5 out of 10 for difficulty. Keep in mind the difficulties for me personally. If you're better at puzzle games, you wouldn't have as much trouble. I struggled a lot with this one. Some of the puzzles took me hours to solve, and I even cheated on one of them, so that's why I gave it that rating. But yeah, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you did enjoy the video, consider giving it a like, as it does help the channel a lot. And if you like this series, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. But yeah, thanks for watching, and here's a sneak peek at what is coming next. So there are 341 games on the list. Mario 64 and Disney DDR are intentionally left off. But we got something coming up, could be anything. 3, 2, 1, go. 286. What is that? Alright, we're playing another Star Wars game. Playing Star Wars Rogue Squadron. We literally just played the Shadow of the Empire or whatever.